So welcome, guys. We are very few of us, so we can make it very interactive. If you have any questions, feel free. Feel free to ask your question. Don't be shy. So I'm here today with Farouk, and what we would like to do is really to give you an overview of the CNC APIs. This will be a very high-level overview of what's available, and then Farouk will give you a demo of how we can use APIs in a true use case, if you want. So in terms of what I'm going to cover, so a few slides for like maybe 15 minutes, and then we switch to the demo as soon as possible. A quick overview of the CNC controller. So I don't know if you attended my presentation earlier, but I tried to describe what CNC does today and what CNC will do tomorrow. Then we'll discuss some of the REST APIs that are available today. As I explained during the presentation, CNC is using NSO for service provisioning, so you can extend, of course, that's an NSO platform, so you can extend the service definition. And if you remember, the service health is how we do the service assurance piece, and same we can extend the service health definition. And then we'll go to one demo. So a different view, not exactly the same one I showed this morning, but basically what we can do with CNC, if you remember, provisioning, visualization, optimization, service assurance, and closed loop automation. How we do, so provisioning, everything is based on NSO service model. We use intent-based models. So the visualization is going to reflect what's in your NSO model, if you want. And of course, we are combining what we get in the NSO model with what we collect from the network using like BGPLS, what we discover from the devices. So we have a complete picture of what's going on. So from the device up to the services. So we have this path compute engine, which is an XR component, and which is going to receive all the BGPLS information to optimize the traffic, reroute the traffic when needed. CNC can collect KPIs, traps. We support SNMP, GNMI, and other protocols. And the configuration engine, so I'm in front of it, which is NSO. And you can leverage the existing NED from NSO using CLI, netconf, or whatever. That's CNC. And of course, we have a bunch of API on top, REST and RESTconf API, so that you can integrate with other systems. So I'm not going to go into all the details of the APIs. They are completely, fully documented on DevNet. So if you go to DevNet, you will have the link in the presentation. You can find the documentation for these APIs, all the details. So if you remember what we discussed this morning, I mean earlier in the previous session and even now, you will find APIs at the element management level. So to retrieve the inventory, typically, to get fault, to get performance information, to receive notification, to control the SWIM. So if you remember, the SWIM is a software and image management. So how we upgrade the devices. The data gateway, which is collecting the data, has its own set of APIs as well to control what the data gateway is doing, what is the load, what is the health of the data gateway. Infrastructure APIs to manage the CNC infrastructure by itself, including authentication, RBAC, things like that. The network controller APIs, where you're going to control, to manage the services, layer 2, layer 3, everything we do with transport, so segment routing, circuit style, the slicing. I don't think I have a slide on slicing, but we had a lab yesterday, so you will find some slides on what we do with around slicing and the level of APIs that we provide. Moving forward, we have optimization engine APIs. So once again, we have a bunch of APIs. Everything that we do in CNC comes with APIs, so you can really do whatever you want from an external system. So you can retrieve the layer 2 and layer 3 topology details from COE. You can retrieve some of the performance metrics. You can retrieve, so you have performance metrics at different levels. It can be at the device level, as we discussed this morning with EMS, but that we get some performance metrics as well through BGPLS or IGP that we can retrieve from COE. SR policy details. Yeah, sorry for that. So SR policy, 3-seed. 3-seed is a multicast with segment routing. And you can manage 3-seed using COE, and of course it comes with APIs as well. Service help. So once again, and by the way, guys, feel free to stop me at any time if you have questions on some of this. It's really a high-level overview. Yeah.
The first question from the top level overview of the API, does it cover all the areas of the CNC?
Yeah.
And inside each area, is it 100% of feature parity with the GUI, or it's not yet?
That's a very good.
Can you repeat the
Oh yeah, sure. I can repeat. I can repeat the question. So the question is that there were two questions. I think first question was, do we have APIs for all CNC components? That was the first question. And then when we have APIs, do they cover 100% of the GUI capabilities? I would say yes for the two. I'm not sure about the.
I think yes. So from the GUI perspective, whatever you can do in the UI, you will have a different API for that.
And the UI itself is internally based on the API, so it's rendered by the API calls.
Internally, I'm not sure about that.
I would say yes, but maybe not exactly the same APIs. So we have internal APIs, which might not be exactly the same the ones that we expose actually.
Yeah, because there are some products from Cisco, like Cisco ACI, where there is only single API, both from GUI rendering and from the public console API. And there are some products that there is an internal API that works well, and there's external API that works no difference. Okay?
Yeah.
But whatever you can do from the UI, that has an equal API, but we're not sure whether
Internal, yeah.
And I'm asking because of the API support, because if there's one common API and something is broken, then it's going to get fixed. While if there's a public API which is used by a couple folks out there, it's not that much supported heavily.
No, I think we got the question. Yeah, we can check for you. I think in general we try to use the same APIs. I cannot guarantee that we use them 100% of the time. Probably in some cases internally we have different APIs. But for sure we are committed to support those APIs because by definition a tool like CNC is going to be integrated into something larger. You're not going to use CNC on its own, most likely. Most likely you will go into, and Farouk will show it during the demo, but you will integrate with a provisioning system or fulfillment system. You will integrate with a fault management system or a performance management system. So we try to expose everything we can do in CNC through those APIs. So the service health APIs, the zero touch. I mean, every single component should have its own set of APIs. Just checking times. I have a few slides on service extensibility. So maybe you guys are NSO experts, probably better than me, but the idea is really that what we provide with CNC, we provide example of service provisioning for layer 2, layer 3, or we provide function packs for SRT, for example, but everything can be extended. So you can extend the NSO model, the NSO service model. Typically, you will extend it to support multi-vendor. So we will provide you with a Cisco implementation, but if you want to support other vendors, the product is ready to do so. You may want to extend the service model definition, the service definition itself, because what we provide is an example, but depending on your customer implementation, you want to you may want to extend the layer 2, layer 3, or RSVPT or SRT. Usually, this is done by Cisco CX, Advanced Services, but I think it's fully documented, so if someone wants to do it, you can do it as well. Data collection, you can customize as well. If you want to collect things that we don't collect by nature, you can extend the capabilities. The SRPC, if you remember, which is doing the network optimization, is fully standard-based. So we use BGPLS, PCEP. So usually it's multi-vendor by nature. Sometimes we have to do some little things to make it work across the vendors, but in theory it should work across most of the vendors. So we have an interop event. I don't have a slide here, but where we test CNC with all multiple vendors. That was and the event was pretty successful. Yeah, so just a summary of what we can extend. I had a question, but I don't think it was a gentleman, but there was a question about for people who have already a NSO deployed, how they can integrate this existing NSO into CNC. That's possible. What I discussed that we provide IETF-based VPN model, but you can extend those models if you want. Multi-vendor support, which is probably the first step of customization that you would like to do. And test and validation, I don't. So we have a bunch of presentation and more documentation if you want to go into some details. Maybe to answer your question, if you look at CNC as itself, you can see where we can extend the model, where you can extend the overlay model, the service else. I have a few slides about it. So data gateway, if you want to collect things that we don't collect by definition. By default, sorry. So typically here, what we can do with the UI, you can do with the API. You can also decide, depending on your type of integration, to provision directly the NSO model, going straight to NSO through CNC. That's also a possibility. Service health. So I will try to make it simple. If you remember service health, what we do is that when we define a service model, we extend the service model to define which component we want to monitor, to know how the service is behaving, is it in good health or not. We define what could be the potential issues, what could be the remediation, and things like that. So all this definition comes into one package that we call a heuristic package. And this heuristic package that includes all this knowledge, we provide some of them for layer 2 VPN, layer 3 VPN, and moving forward for all services that we support. But of course, you can extend those heuristic package to put your own knowledge or your own information into it. So when you see HP, it means a heuristic package. So the way you do it, you have access from the CNC interface. You can find all the heuristic package. So you can see that a heuristic package will have rules, will have profiles, sub-services, and so on. You can export this guy. You can update it. So once again, you can put your own information to it and complete the heuristic package, and then re-import that. Yeah. So very quickly, what you would do when you want to extend the heuristic package, you will add a troubleshooting procedure. You can add CLI command to get more information. You can add GNMI with new path for collection or new SNMP or ID MIBs, and you export the package in a JSON file. You modify the package. You may have some Python to run. and then you can re-import the package into CNC, and that will become your new package. Before I hand over to Farouk, I know it was very quick. I apologize. We don't have too much time to go into the detail, but do you have any questions? Yes?
I'm actually on the same wall. I have my NSO deployment. I'm waiting
For the mic. Farouk, you?
So I'm also. Thank you. So I'm also exploring the opportunity to move from, let's say, NSO with my own developed service and enhance it with CNC on top of it to leverage, for example, the service health monitoring and all that. And I just have a few questions, mainly related to if this will work with, putting together CNC and some of its cool features with my own developed package. Will this integrate or?
So, yeah, so I will speak under the control of the TMEs here, but yeah, in theory that should work. So we have the concept of a brownfield services, so you should be able to reuse or to integrate your own service model into CNC and to extend your service model to do the service health and even the visualization. I did not talk too much about the visualization, what we call CAT. You can augment your model for this. For sure, if you have layer 2, layer 3 VPN model, that should work almost seamlessly, I would say. If you have other types of services, I think we need to look into the details. But for regular layer 2, layer 3, segment routing, RSVPT, that should be not easy, but this is something you can do.
Okay, and just another question that came to my mind. Basically, all the NSO instances I currently manage, they are running as Docker containers. Does it present a problem when interacting with CNC, or is it a normal use case?
This is a very good question. I don't know the answer.
I don't know the answer about that. NSO, I'll take that question. I'm no NSO expert, so. Yeah.
Thank you. So now I hand over to Farouk, who is going to show you the APIs in action, if you want, if the screen wants to work.
Okay, so your Crosswalk network controller, that works as part of your larger ecosystem. So this gives a very high-level view of that, where you have the applications, which is your BSS, OSS applications, and they drive the provisioning and the lifecycle management of a service, the CRUD. This can be any applications. One of the popular ones is ServiceNow. The demo is going to be based on the ServiceNow. And so once you define your service, the Crosswalk network controller provisions your service. Everything is up and running. Now, at this time, you want to monitor that service, right? So as part of the monitoring, if there are any alerts, you would like to know what the alerts are. And CNC is not an alert management system. It just generates those alerts. So you want to send those alerts or create a ticket to your in the ticketing system. So then you should have APIs for the entire CRUD operation for your service management. You should have APIs which will easily sort of ingest the alerts from your CNC, and then you can use Python scripts or scripts to send it to your favorite ticketing system, right? And then possibly as the last step, you can initiate the remediation from your OSS applications. So this is the specific use case demo that we're going to do today. So we chose ServiceNow because most of our customers, ServiceNow is one of the applications that they use, both for provisioning and for the ticketing system. So that's why we chose this one. So the flow is from ServiceNow to Crosswalk Network Controller using APIs, And if there are any alerts, then those alerts are sent back to ServiceNow to create a ticket. Now you can develop in so many different ways, right? Now in Crosswork Network Controller, the API, the REST APIs, you can write your own scripts. But now we have the Crosswork Workflow Manager, which makes it easier. I'll not go into the details of what Crosswork Workflow Manager is because we have a few sessions already there. The steps for this is where we want to create an L3 VPN, for example. And as part of the creation of the L3 VPN, we also want to enable service health. And not just service health. Now, with active monitoring, with the Exedian probes, you can basically initiate the TVAMP sessions, and you can define the topology of those Exedian probes. The topology variations are mesh, where you have a VPN. It's going to be a complete mesh, or it can be a point-to-point. So you customize it, or it can be a hub and spoke, where you specify the hub and then the spoke for that. And all this can be done as part of provisioning or management of that service itself. And in terms of the alerts, there's a streaming API, which makes it very easy for us to basically get all the alerts from CNC, and then you can send that to your ticketing system. Now, for Crosswork Network Controller, if you are doing it for the first time, then then you could use a Crosswork Workflow Manager to do that. That makes it easier. But if you have any existing scripts, your Python scripts, for example, right? It's not then you can use a combination of that. So in this specific demo, we're going to use the ServiceNow's REST API call to the Crosswork Workflow Manager. And the Crosswork Workflow Manager does basically authentication, which is a two-step process. It's a get ticket and a get token. And then the token is used for your service creation. And as part of the service creation, we will enable the service health and also the Exedian probes so that we start monitoring the health of your service. So once that is up and running, the alerts, we have done it using the Python scripts because in any ecosystem, you'll have different ways in which you implement. So this is to show that you can combine things and easily. So this is a streaming API that's implemented where it constantly listens to the CNC to get the alerts. And from those alerts, you can create a ticket. So this is a recorded demo. So this is the dashboard of the CNC, which shows the VPN services and the elementary and the inventory. Now, this is the VPN services. We have L2 VPN and L3 VPN. We have two L3 VPNs. We'll create a new one, VPN 2. So this is the dashboard for the VPN services. Now, the next step is we need to define the workflow for your. Next is in the workflow manager, we'll define the APIs to create the VPN service. And that is here it's called as the configure L3 VPN. You can give it any name. So here, basically when you create one, you give a version and you give some unique name. And this is the code for that. So there are two portions to this. One is the CNC authentication portion, which is it's a REST call. Basically, all these are REST calls using the CNC's APIs. It's a get ticket. You can think of this as a mapping from your APIs to the Crosswork Workflow Manager, and it's a get token. And then the final one is the API for configuring the layer 3 VPN. So this is all that's required for provisioning the VPN and specifying that as in the workflow. So for this, we're using the REST adapter. And you need to specify your CNC instance. So, and you need to specify what's your resource type. Here it's a REST. And then you give the details about your CNC instance, the IP address and the port. And you can extend these APIs to enable other ones too. And I think in the newer versions, you can specify the granularity of those APIs where you can build sub workflows and then stitch those sub workflows together. Okay, so now that we have this in place, now we can initiate or call this workflow from the ServiceNow. So we've created an automation group here. So basically, which is for the creation of the L3 VPN. And the create L3 VPN is the call from ServiceNow. So this consists of, it's a post call and the endpoint. So when we call a workflow, then it's actually a job into that. So basically we call the job in the Crosswork Workflow Manager. And the .22 is the workflow instance. So we need to authenticate towards that. So we specify an auth profile where we've pre-configured it, which is basically the user ID password to the Crosswork Workflow Manager so that you can log into that. And then the body, it's the HTTP request for the Crosswork Workflow Manager job. You give the credentials for the Crosswork workflow, and then the payload is the VPN service. So in the VPN service here, it's L3 VPN across 3 endpoints. And we, as part of the provisioning, we are also enabling service health. And the topology that we are selecting is mesh, so there's no input. Which means it's the Xcedian probes are being point to point across that. Okay. Also, we are enabling the heuristics package called Bronze. You can use the default ones, or you can extend it and customize it. So it's a combination of service health and active monitoring of the VPN service. And we're going to name it as VPN2. And in the payload, we also need to specify, you'll have different workflows. You need to specify you need to identify the workflow. So you give it a unique job name, you specify the workflow name and the version. You can have multiple versions of that workflow. And that's about it. And then you can basically call this. So this basically, we get a response and we get a status of 200, which means our call was successful. And now we can see this in the CNC. Oh, before that, let's look into the job manager. The job manager in the workflow, here we had given a name as L3 VPN Developer Days. And this is basically the logs. And if there are any issues when it makes a call into the workflow manager, you should see here. But in our case, it was successful. So everything is green. Finally, if we go into the CNC, VPN is coming up. It's still black, gray. Now it's turned orange. That means the service health and the Xcedian probes have been enabled. Let's look into the details of that VPN2 that we created. That's in the view details. So here we see that there is one alert. And in terms of the service health that we enabled, it's bronze. These are the set of KPIs and the thresholds associated with that service health. And the last 3, the probe, that's the Xcedian probe. So it's very simple to enable service health and active monitoring as part of the life cycle of your service.
I think we need to leave it.
Oh, okay. So basically, this is the final one where we create a ticket into ServiceNow. So any questions? Or we can even take the questions outside because the next session is starting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.